Before we begin, please imagine the bell notification is on and you're subscribed to Huna Stories. The notification came while I was comparing printer toner prices. I remember because I had just decided to wait another week and my phone buzzed with that polite, impersonal chime that usually meant groceries or a streaming renewal I'd forgotten to cancel. Announcer 900 charged. The merchant name included the word reception, which felt almost theatrical, like a cue. I stared at the screen long enough for it to dim, then tapped it awake again, just to make sure the number didn't change if I looked twice. I didn't feel panic. I felt a kind of careful quiet, the same one I get when something breaks at work and everyone else is still talking. You stop listening. You start counting. 2 days before my niece's wedding. Of course it was. I texted my sister, just a screenshot and a question mark. She called me immediately, voice bright, already laughing. "Oh, that finally went through," she said. "Good. I was worried about timing." I asked her what she meant, though I already knew. "The reception," she said, as if explaining weather. "You're on the card. Mom said it made sense." I pictured my mother's kitchen table, the stack of wedding brochures, the way decisions were always made when I wasn't there. I asked why no one had asked me. There was a pause, then laughter again, lighter this time. "Come on, you've got no husband, no kids. This is your role. You're the stable one." It wasn't said to hurt me. That was the strange part. It was said like math. I looked out the window of my office at the parking lot, the same silver sedan pulling into the same spot every morning. I said, "Noted." She kept talking, filling the space I didn't, about flowers and seating charts and how stressed Mom was, how this wedding meant everything. I let her talk until her voice softened into reassurance. Then we hung up. For the rest of the afternoon, I did my job. I answered emails. I signed off on a budget revision that saved the department 3%. I went home and fed my cat and reheated soup. Only later, when the apartment was quiet and my phone lay face down on the table, did the weight of it press in. Not the money, the assumption. I opened my banking app and read the transaction details carefully. The card was mine, the authorization was mine, but the contract holder listed wasn't. I pulled up the venue's website. Elegant photos, soft lighting, a phone number at the bottom. When the coordinator answered, I introduced myself by name and asked if she could confirm a charge. I kept my voice even, professional, the way I do with vendors who don't know me yet. She confirmed the amount, the date, the event. I asked whose name the contract was under. There was a pause while she checked. Then she told me. I asked what their policy was for third-party charges without written authorization. Another pause, longer. She said she'd need to escalate it to accounting. She asked if I could email documentation. I said yes. When I hung up, I felt something shift. Not relief, not satisfaction, just alignment, like putting something back where it belonged. I emailed statements, I forwarded screenshots, I asked for the charge to be reviewed pending verification. I did not mention my family. I did not mention the wedding. I slept that night, not deeply, but enough. My phone started ringing at 7:12 a.m. My mother's number, then my sister's, then my mother again. I let it ring while I showered. By the time I left for work, there were 12 missed calls and 3 voicemails I hadn't listened to. At the office, the receptionist raised her eyebrows. "Your sister's here," she said quietly. "She seems upset." I nodded and went to my desk first, logged in, set my bag down. Only then did I walk to the conference room. My sister was pacing, phone pressed to her ear, whisper shouting. When she saw me, she hung up. "What did you do?" she demanded. I sat down. "Good morning." "They're saying the venue might cancel," she said. "Mom is hysterical. Her fiancé is on the phone with the bank. They're saying the payment is under review." I looked at her. Really looked. The mascara smudge, the clenched jaw. She looked smaller than she had yesterday. "I called them," I said. "You can't do that," she said. "The wedding is in 2 days." "I know." She stared at me, searching for anger, for cruelty. "Why would you do this to us?" I thought about explaining, about respect, about boundaries, about how being the stable one had slowly turned into being the silent one. None of it felt useful. "I didn't authorize the charge," I said. "They asked questions. I answered them." Her phone buzzed again. She didn't answer this time. In the hallway outside, I could hear raised voices through someone else's speakerphone. My mother, unmistakable, even distorted, sharp with panic. An hour later, the venue's accounting manager called me. She spoke carefully, using words like policy and verification and liability. She said they'd need the contract holder to provide proof of authorization or arrange alternate payment immediately. I thanked her and hung up. By noon, my mother's fiancé had left me a voicemail that was half apology, half accusation. By 1, my sister had stopped pacing and sat across from me, silent. "Are you going to fix this?" she asked finally. I met her eyes. "I didn't break it." She looked away. The reception wasn't canceled. Someone else paid. I found out later it was my mother's fiancé using a line of credit he hadn't planned to touch yet. There were consequences I didn't see and didn't ask about. The wedding happened. I attended the ceremony. I smiled in photos. I gave my niece a gift I'd chosen myself. No one thanked me. No one apologized. The assumption had cracked, but it hadn't disappeared. A week later, my sister texted me a picture from the reception. "It was beautiful," she wrote. I replied, "I'm glad." It wasn't a victory. There was no moment where everyone understood. There was just a new quiet, a distance that felt both sad and necessary. I paid my own bills, I sat at my own table, and for the first time in a long while, the numbers added up to something that felt like mine.